everyone watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify. This is another episode of NRG Insights. For those who don't know, this is a podcast based on the mortgage industry, speaking to insightful people that can bring anything to the market, to bring any value, whether that be leaders within lending or leaders within the broker market. So today I've got Hugh Spillane with me, who is the CEO of DNA Financial Services. Thanks for Financial Solutions. Sorry, have I got that right? Nice to see you.
Thanks for having me, Marcus. Yeah, you got it right. Second attempt.
Second time, wasn't it? Yeah. I got a lender's name completely wrong this morning. I'll have to go back through that because they'd rebranded, but I had both written down and I only got one. I'd said the wrong one.
We all knew what you meant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but great to have you on. Genuinely, it's been a long time coming, right?
Yeah, it has. It has. We joke that I keep cancelling these, and it was nearly cancelling today. So, yeah, thanks for the patience, mate. I'm delighted to be here.
That's all right, no problem. So, to talk to me about yours is a bit different as well. So, it's quite interesting. But tell me about your financial services journey and how you came about DNA and obviously the partners there and how DNA was formed.
Yeah, great question. And I suppose the shortest answer is not a particularly short answer, but I'll give it my best shot because it probably takes me back nearly 8, 10, even 12 years actually to finishing university, and you're like, where do you go next? I was working in marketing roles, trying to find that and grind that career out, that 9 to 5 that you just sort of presume is what you have to do at that stage of your life. And I sort of stumbled into buying my own place, a property that needed a load of work. I ended up cycling through a number of properties in West Yorkshire, Leeds in particular, where it was blow up beds on the floor, it was knocking down walls, showering at the gym, all this kind of stuff, proper like in sawdust, property investing and developing. And from that point, it's two names that most people will know or be more familiar with of where I'm at now with DNA, is Drew and Adam, who at that time, they were my mortgage brokers. So I was looking for projects, and they were the guys that I came across, which was exciting. And look, we're all of a similar age and a similar mindset, and at the time a similar geography as well. So there was kind of a click there, and it was purely a professional relationship. And look, the years went on. I went through these houses, I went through blow-up beds, I went through showering at the gym, and got into a nice position where I could actually step away from working for somebody else and set up ventures where I was working for myself. And it's been 8+ years now where I've always invested in, run, tried to grow SMEs, and that's where I'm at today as the CEO of DNA, which is it's something that I've enjoyed. It's got me to this place. Who knows what the future holds? But the last 8 years have been absolutely amazing. I don't quite know where they've gone because I look back now and think, got married this year, which was a huge achievement as well. It's not all the professional stuff; it's the personal stuff as well that come along this journey with you, and that's been an exciting part of my career as much as the highs and some of the battles through the lows as well of getting by every day. And owning one of those companies, they're not all related to property, they're not all related to finance. There's been digital marketing in there's been sports nutrition, there's been furniture, there's been e-commerce, everything that you could possibly imagine. But what it has done is give me a really good grounding on the things that make a business the size that we are now tick. And it's given me the entrepreneurial spirit, I think, and the foresight to project where I want to be. And that's really...
So what was that decision made then between obviously Adam and Drew to bring you in, and then obviously the CEO title and that kind of thing? Was it... That's quite grown organically, hasn't it, up to that
it has grown organically. So I came in and invested with the guys at the start of 2021. Just before that, Johnny, our business partner as well, Johnny Dunn, came in. Long story short is that Drew and Adam are brokers by trade. They're the sales guys by trade. But their knowledge necessarily wasn't about growing businesses. It wasn't necessarily...
I mean, that's the problem with every business, right? Every business, we're part of it because we're good at our job, as opposed to been to business school or learn how to run a business. That's the age-old problem with founder-owner kind of businesses that are trying to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. And at that moment, we brought, although if you put us in a lineup, a police lineup, we basically look the same. You'd be like, I can't tell the difference between these guys. Maybe that's the case now. There's a few more wrinkles now. There's kids, there's marriages, all sorts. So we have aged, don't get me wrong, over the last 4 years. But we actually brought a hugely diverse set of skills and interests together. I didn't necessarily know how to broke. They didn't necessarily have I wouldn't say didn't know, but didn't have an interest in the strategical side or the marketing or the finance side of running a business. They wanted to do the deals. So I came in there, and then Johnny came in essentially to bring the work in, to bring the deals and the clients in. So between us, we were actually the perfect setup. And look,
but all of the same mindset, right? All of the same, different skill set, same mindset.
different skill set, same mindset. We all had a why, not always the same why, but we were similarly motivated to the same degree. And, throughout the last 4 years, and I've always said this because I have run some businesses by myself before, I find huge comfort and huge solace in having some really great business partners by my side every day, as, confidants, as people to bounce ideas off. But ultimately, you've got to ride the crest of the wave. I've always been one who's always tried to improve or focus on the stuff that isn't going so well. And sometimes the great stuff just passes me by. I don't think that's unique to me. It's been great to start to ride those waves with the guys. But actually, when you're in the doldrums, when things aren't going right, because they don't all the time, there's lots of fixing problems and problem solving to do. It's great to have good people around you. And I'm fortunate that they allow me to do that, and it is almost an exclusively working on the business role now, which is fantastic. And variously, our ambitions are all aligned with some slightly different focuses on our personal lives, but professionally, it's been a great journey.
I think it's interesting how that long-term vision has come about. How Adam and Drew weren't, because I see it so shut off with brokers that it's our brokerage, like it's our name above the door. We're the guys that sell the deals, and actually, that's not what makes good business all the time. What makes good business is having the right people in the right seats. So I think that's commendable, especially in this industry where generally it's broker owner and they can't work out how it doesn't grow, and they've never got anyone on the business, or they've got 2 hours to spare. And we're all guilty of that, right? I'm the same. I'm still on the phone. I'm still working. I still write business. So I probably have very limited time because I'm worried about everyone else's business. I have very little time to do it on my own. So I think that's a massive plus for you. That's probably the reason why the growth in it will continue to be successful, because you've taken it into account.
You're exactly right. And look, what a really formative moment for me and a powerful moment for me was taking on the CEO responsibility at the start of this year. The reason I say that is because Drew and Adam have always been extremely proud of the brand and the business that they came up with. They're proud founders of the business, but they had to relinquish something to allow me to take the CEO role. And to do that must have been very, very difficult for them. But they recognised that was my skill, that was a value that I could bring. And we look at what's happened this year. It's allowed us to compartmentalise not only the roles of the business. What we always did was we were brilliant at running the team and compartmentalising the team, but then we treading on each other's toes as a board because all our direct roles are really close together. But this year, it's allowed us just to breathe. It's allowed me to go into my own. I found the most successful role I've ever had in my career. And I think I like to speak for them to say those guys have as well. We've had our most success.
And out of interest, did you write kind of job specs and not job specs, but did you write your duties out so you're all clear as to when you're not treading on each other's toes now? Because again, that is a problem with small business. Everyone's doing a bit. We all kind of know what each other are doing, but it's never formalised into job titles, job duties and that kind of thing.
It actually expedited some of the corporate governance that we thought we got right at the start, because we put shareholders agreements in place and we've got our insurances, directors' offices, insurances and all that kind of good stuff. What we actually hadn't done director service contracts. So our actual employment within the business wasn't robust. Like, we couldn't hold each other to account in the same way that we hold everyone else in the business.
That's the one thing, isn't it? Directors can't hold each other to account if you don't know what each other are doing. Or you go, well, that's kind of your job, or that's a mix of our jobs. Actually, this is really clear, isn't it? This is you, this is me.
Yeah, and when we went through this process, we found out that we were quite unique, that we actually cared about things like shareholders agreement and the insurances and doing things, from a corporate governance point of view, the proper way. It's the slow way, it's the expensive way, but it's the proper way. We actually realised that we were quite unique in doing that. And we've just gone through an exercise now where we're slightly restructuring the business, and we'll come on to some of those projects we're looking at. But it always makes you sharpen the pencil a little bit, saying, are we going in the right direction here? What if something happens, something really great happens? What if something not so good happens? Where are we protected? Are the team protected? Are we protected as business owners and a board of directors? So it's been, this year's been fantastic. I've never enjoyed my work so much. DNA has never been so successful. And I think we're building a business that incorporates fantastic people. Not least because you're our recruiter, Marcus. We work with great suppliers, don't we?
I wasn't going to say anything. But no, people are so important, right? We've always got on, even before we worked together. Because you're people first, right? That's the thing that kind of connected us. You understand that it's about the team, and obviously Adam and Drew are exactly the same, because they understood about getting those people around them as well. So it's always going to connect well with us, that people understand that what's important in the business is the people in it.
Yeah, in the people side, and what's such an important point of what you said there is, I would describe people as the culture of the business, right? I've always kept it very, very simple. I didn't really change the philosophy. I just reinforced the philosophy of what I personally would like to stand for with a business that I'm putting my name against as the CEO at the start of the year, to the team and to my business partners, that we've always actually worked to the same sort of concept. It's three C's that I have in my mind at any one time. It's culture, it's the client outcomes, and it's the cash in. Now, what's interesting about those three things, in those order is the priority of order that we treat the business now. If the culture's right, the clients usually get dealt with well, and before you know it, you're not really noticing the bank account anymore. We live a good life and a profitable business. I can happily say, not necessarily happily say, I can honestly say that 4 years ago, was that the same order? No, I don't think it was. It's one of the biggest things I've learned, actually. It's maybe exactly the opposite way around, where you didn't focus so much on the culture. Was it people first?
It's really hard when you're starting out and you're desperately trying to get money in the door. Like, it's, you know what I mean? It's always that uphill struggle with cash flow and getting things working and getting the team moving. Like, it's understandably not how values get lost. That's not right, because you're still doing the right thing by the customer. It's just where we focus on, because it's really easy to focus on money coming in. I mean, we can go through that in more. It's the same in regards to passion, purpose, and profit. We probably get two out of three of those right, but hopefully 2025 shows the other key working. But that's what. But you need those two things, though, right? You need to make sure your customer's good. You need to make sure everyone's happy. And that takes time. And hopefully, the profit cash in is the result of that.
It's the end result. It's the end result. And one of the most exciting things that I've found this year is that we have not only our most skillful team we've ever had, we have our kindest team. I'm a big believer that you can have the best conversations and the worst conversations in the world in a kind way. That's from me to my business partners, to the team, from our team to our clients, and anybody that is involved with DNA. We can be kind to each other, and there's so much that goes on in the world. There's so much stuff that we can't influence. The one thing we can do is, the side of the bed you wake up on. And step out of it with a decent foot forward I don't think it's too much to ask for most people.
We have the same kind of philosophy in the sense that our main behaviour is positivity, and that incorporates just being nice, just being a good person, because it's really hard to be a negative knobhead if you're being positive. You know what I mean? You can't be both. So it's incorporated in our kind of philosophy because it's so easy, isn't it? Especially when it's tough. I mean, it's easy when it's easy, but when it's tough, it's easy to kind of blame people, or you say or have awkward conversations that come out wrong. And I still need to learn that. I still need to learn, because I talk the same all the time. It sometimes comes across as blunt because someone's asked me a question, and so I'm aware of it. But I don't think it's being unkind. But I think there's still a learning there that you can always improve on the way you deliver to people to keep everyone happy.
I think so. But it's nice that I've explored this idea in my mind for a period of time now. That I've been in property for variously from, like I said at the start, nearly 10 years ago now. It was over 10 years actually, to this current day. What excites me about the future of property is that I think there's a new generation of finance and property leaders coming through, which is great to see, with a fresh level of energy, a tech focus, emerging tech focus, and creating an industry that, uses, I suppose, modern methods of working in a way that's never been done before. But one step further than that is the industry is far more collegiate than it used to be. There used to be people who didn't want to talk to each other. Brokers would never talk to each other. You'd work with a partner and get some work from one partner, and you weren't really allowed to speak to somebody else who might have been their competitor. It was like, it was so closed off. And I always thought, I think we can break that mold. I think we've done a really good job at DNA. We've found a niche of where we get our work from. And actually, there's lots of competitor businesses in there who actually just accept that we do a good job. So, might we know some inside information about everybody involved? Yeah, but also we know what we're doing. And I think that's a really important thing.
I think it's the abundance mindset as well, isn't it? Just being aware there's enough business for everyone, right? I mean, there's a skill shortage in mortgages. We're not going to run out of business because you know what matey down the road does.
Yeah, sure.
And also it enhances best practice. If we're already insular, then you're never going to learn what makes someone else tick. And at the same time, I think it's easier to get away with being less sticking to people's values, if you like, or be a little bit more cowboyish if everyone is insular. So I think it's only a good thing, right? If everyone knows how everyone else works and just if people are more open, then it definitely pushes best practice, which is only a good thing for the market, right?
Yeah, it's a really, really good thing. I think so.
So talk to me about this, because your team's relatively young, right? Your guys, I know you've got varied ages, but as a whole, you've got a fairly I talked about that. 'Cause I'll tell you what I want to know is, how do you deal with the different generations of people? Because what a lot of people struggle with at the moment is that so Gen Z are motivated very different from how we were. Actually, I don't know your age. You might still be in that whippersnapper age, but no, you're not. But how is that? How is that with dealing with different ages, different generations, different motivators, and especially as you guys are all the same age, so you're pretty much from the same motivation era, if you like. How's that panned out for you?
I think, no one's really allowed to talk about age, are they? In jobs and employment, no one's allowed to talk about age. But I will answer it in the spirit of transparency. I'll answer it because,
but they're motivated differently, so it's so relevant. And we could talk about generations being motivated
so
very different.
I believe age comes into it based on behaviours, and our age as a board is influenced by our behaviours. If we act in an immature way, we lose respect. If we act in a mature and a professional way, we put a plan in place and we command people to go in a certain direction, and there's a goal and a target and there's a focus there, then I think people can get on board. They might not always like it. I've had to come to accept lots of the things about just simply my role and my job title, never mind the decisions I have to make. It's never universally accepted. I have a great team, I think, believe in me and believe in the direction we're going. And I think over the next 6 months, the industry should hopefully see the vision we've got as a business that is really exciting. But in terms of ages, it starts with the business owners. As we said, it goes back to that culture. How do you behave? If you behave in a proper manner, I think you can attract and you can motivate people of any ages. But then people of any age who might be working within DNA or any brokerage in the country, are you accepting of advice? Are you accepting of leadership? Are you accepting of mentorship? Not just from your supposed hierarchy or line management above, but are you somebody who helps people along who might be a subordinate to you by job title, for example? Or do you pull up the ladder afterwards? This is a really important thing about the psychology of business and how people move through their careers, what makes great leaders, what makes people who are just there to sort of steady the ship, plug the gaps. Because there is a role for everybody. We have a huge myriad of actual ages within our business. We have a huge myriad of skills. We have people who I can see have entrepreneurial spirit. I see people who are extremely comfortable doing the same thing over and over again every single day. And I believe all have a place in this world. And I believe, in the most part, they have a place at DNA if they can perform at a certain level and a certain ability. And that goes for me as well. I have to perform at a certain level.
Is it more about standard? Is it more about standard as opposed to the reason I say it is because and the brass tacks of it, if you like, is that guys my age were motivated by money. It's really simple. You went to work for longer hours because you could earn more money, and people are motivated by something slightly different now in regards to how they feel valued and autonomy and empowerment and that kind of thing. So I was just seeing if you've noticed it, or is it just that if your behaviours are right, it doesn't really matter what age you are, or your standards are high enough. It's kind of irrelevant as to.
I think we just have to be open-minded to what makes people tick, because some people is still money. We run a business that ultimately is sales. At the end of the day, we're selling mortgages, we're selling insurance. So the front line of it is that we have to sell. And if a salesperson is not to some degree motivated by money, they're probably not going to be as successful as we probably need them to be based on the structure of the business that we have. But I know lots of people's individual motivating factors in our business, and it's not always that. It can be materialistic things, it can be family things. There's all sorts of areas that we go into. But you are right. The hybrid working revolution now is a huge part of it. The idea of having empowerment, having leaders who will allow you to earn more, take more responsibility, and not just say to keep you strung out for the next 3-6 months and I hope you stay with us. I'm going to give you a promotion, I'm going to give you money. When you get there, actually do it. Have the KPI review. We need to come up with a better name for KPIs, don't we? Because that's just like properly old school, isn't it?
Oh no, there's some shocking names for KPIs. I think just keep it.
And either deliver what you promised because they've achieved the goals that you set out, or explain why somebody's not there yet and continue to support them along. So, but who is on that journey? Everybody from, in our business we have people from 20 years old to 55 years old. So as of right now, everyone's got different motivations, everyone's bringing different skills, and across all the board. I couldn't say there's one little sort of pigeonhole everyone fits into, but really quite early in my career, Marcus, I was drawn to the, I suppose, independence of mind would be my wisdom sort of phrase that people have when they're sort of just choosing which way they go in life and what they buy and what they do and what they say to people. I remember that, go back to that time I was sleeping on a blow-up bedding, showering at the gym and knocking walls down and all sorts of stuff. It was a great time of my life. It was very free, no rules, right? I go back to that and I remember selling the first house and I remember the estate agent came along and they said, I've got this questionnaire that we'll ask everyone to do. And I think about 25 people came through on that one of those Saturday morning open doors and gave them the questionnaire. And I thought, in my mind, I was like, right, I put a new kitchen in, that's going to be quality. Front and back garden, they're all grass. So people say, I don't like mowing that, so that'll be a consistent thing. And I never touched the bathroom, so I think everyone might say I needs to be tarted up a little bit. And I remember that every single one of those questionnaires, every 20 of them, there was not a common factor in all of them. The person who liked the kitchen didn't like the bathroom. The person who liked the bathroom didn't like mowing the gardens. The person who liked the gardens didn't like the house at all. And it just made me realise really early in my career that you have to be super flexible. You have to listen. You have to take feedback. A lot of the feedback you can just ignore because there's somebody out there who will either follow your lead, someone will buy the property, someone will say that's a good idea. But actually, you've just got to make a decision, haven't you? Because actually, I would rather, instead of looking for perfection, I'd rather just deliver something. Deliver a project, get it live, add value, get feedback and learn from it. But you've just got to move on. You've got to sell the property. If I was sat there trying to improve that first property to the level that all 20 people had advised me on, I'd still be on that today. I'd still be there today. So that was like a really early sort of eye-opener to how people's minds work. And it's just as relevant today now in trying to lead a business where we've got nearly up to 30 people in the group, which it fills me with pride every time payroll goes out and successfully goes out, as it has done from day one, that we get everybody to, pay their bills, provide for their personal life, whatever it is, and on we go to the next month. It fills me with great joy that actually amongst all of that, there's personalities and there's individual, personal relationships and personal situations that I think I know lots about. There's loads about the people that work at DNA that I know nothing about because there's so much that goes on. But for us to be able to build something like we have now, where I think we're quite well liked. I feel like I'm quite well liked amongst the team. I think the board are. But actually, I know that the team...
They're going to tell you that, aren't they?
Yeah, you wouldn't say that anyway, Marcus. You wouldn't tell me that. So, but the team, forget about who likes me and who likes my business partners. I know that the team are really well liked, and all the feedback says that. You're kind people, you're good people, but you're really good at your jobs as well. And I think that's great when you think of all the variables I've just mentioned.
I mean, that's the magic of building a team, right? Nice people who want to come to work and work really hard for their clients. Like, that's the magic of a team. Yeah. It's not, I mean, I know we try and, like you said then, you could look at every different survey and every different feedback, but just build a place to work that people love coming to work and they want to help people. Like, that's the magic.
Yeah, and we've got a great environment now, mate. We're busier than we've ever been before. That we've got 6 vacancies, as of last week that we need to get filled, and I think that will continue to evolve out over the coming, 6 months or so. And
all the recruiters listening to this now will be writing down your name.
What's Hugh's email? Is it just his first name, or is it dot Spillane as well?
They'll find it.
Honestly,
they've got board already. These recruiters, they've got that. They haven't got the.
I was trying to do it. You'll know all the ins and outs of LinkedIn, won't you? I was trying to do a bit more stuff on LinkedIn and be a bit more present on the marketing side, particularly when I took the CEO role. And of course, I reduced my privacy on who basically can steal my details off LinkedIn, my work.
Really?
Just absolute chaos, mate. Absolute chaos after that.
Don't worry about it because recruiters pay a fortune to redo take that privacy.
I pay a fortune for them to stop doing it as well, but
I know exactly. LinkedIn just do this auction against you and us.
Where I was going with that, Marcus, was there's actually a feeling as well when you run an office with a good culture. There's a feeling as you walk in. I remember that there was a couple of dark days, certainly prior to Liz Truss's move on the market at the end of 2022. We didn't have a great culture before that time, and then after that moment, the market really hit us in a strong way, not for the better. And there was moments that you would walk into the office. It was like walking through.
Yeah, don't worry. No one lucked in over that mini budget. No one said we did really well.
Yeah, you're lying if you did well out of that. But we're doing well out of it now. But we had to stick with it. That's basically what we had to do, and it was a survival mode last year. But we survived, and that's probably the proudest moment of my career, was just navigating the ship through those turbulent waters. And like I said, sometimes it felt like walking through pea soup when you walk through the office. And for me, that you feel the culture. Right now, it's a
Yeah,
breath
yeah.
of fresh air. I walk in there, people say good morning, they're relaxed, they're ready to get the job done, and
A
you
nice
feel like,
feeling, isn't it? It's
yeah,
a nice feeling that you've helped someone in there that you're a big part of their life. Like
yeah.
I think I
We
don't know.
see
I
a
was
lot
talking to
of
someone
each
about
other.
this the other day.
Yeah,
When it's tough, we forget that we are number one for us. We're helping people find jobs. Same as you, you're helping people find their homes and helping people grow their businesses with developers and the like. But also the people that work with you, your colleagues. It's a huge part for them, you know. And like you say, payroll goes out. You've made a difference. Like it's a nice. We seem to lose that feeling sometimes because we're stuck in the shit. And actually,
yeah,
we
yeah.
need to remember what we do it for. Because if we were just doing it for money, I'd go and work for someone else for money. You know what I mean? There's more to it than there's more to it than that.
2025 is our
But
year, though, isn't it, mate?
that's it. Do you know what Peter Brodnicki said in 2023? And obviously, the fellow knows more than me. He's worth a few bob. And he said, if you get through 2024, you thrive in 25. And in my naivety, I was like, nah, I'm going to smash 2024. And actually, I was just really glad to still be here.
Yeah,
Because it was still tough. You know, it's an interesting time, still tough. We still got to grow the business, but it wasn't, 100%. You can feel it coming back, right? You can feel it across the industry and all the
yeah,
exciting things that happen. I mean, on that, actually, talk to me about what your plans are and what, I know you've got some exciting stuff coming up with the business
yeah.
into 2025 and beyond.
Well, it's interesting you say that. I think people can see such positivity in the marketplace. I think people with a plan can see positivity. I don't necessarily think all brokers, all people in finance, all people in insurance, all people in property can see positivity. I see it with a huge glass half full because we've reinvested so much over the last 3 or 4 years. We're a brokerage that employs 3 full-time software developers in a sister company because we see the value
Yeah.
of what they're doing. We've hugely invested in our marketing and our communications this year. I've always been a firm believer that if you're not marketing, you'll get left behind. And I'm now a firm
Okay.
believer that if you're not embracing AI and emerging tech, you'll die. And actually,
Yeah.
that's probably what 2025 looks like for people who can't get their processes, their speed, their accuracy right by contributing more to the industry that they're working in. And that will ordinarily probably come from a technology point of view. And that's where we're focusing heavily at the minute. Something that will be, it's live and it's a soft launch certainly, but will be established when this goes out, is our new specialist finance and insurance comparison site and deal analyzer called Mogul. So mogulsearch.com is our new platform that has just launched. That's in October of 2024. So how long in the works? Probably about a year ago to the day I came up with the name. Got the trademark through and all that
That's
kind
why
of
you
good
keep
stuff.
going off the bloody podcast. It's taken so long.
I know it
Developers.
has, hasn't it? But it's taken us so long to come up with the ideas and the solution and the tech. And to not only build a piece of tech, it's not like we're just throwing money at something and just hoping that it works. We've built a piece of tech that it's needed 12 months of feedback from our direct to client relationships and our B2B partnerships. That there's actually a gap there and there's value that we can add. And
Yeah.
in short, it is the transparency that property investors, business owners, entrepreneurs, what they want now from a broker is quite different to what they wanted in the past. You go
Well, I was going
online
to say,
now.
it's not tech for tech's sake, right? You're actually you're listening to
Not at
these
all.
people and saying, this is what we need.
How much money?
Uh,
How much money it's costed, mate? Is if it was tech for tech's sake, we'd have stopped this a long time ago. That's absolutely the case. But this is to
yeah.
provide. Yeah, look, the end result is that there's more work into the brokerage to, build a greater business and a greater set of careers that we can bring people in
Yeah.
and support the growth of where the DNA group and it is a group now, or it will be a group very shortly, where our group is going. And yeah, that Mogul platform is a hugely exciting thing that we've worked on. All the content side of it will be driven by Johnny, the Money Mogul. So you'll know if you're on one of his webinars, he's got all the branding, he's got the name. So Johnny is our Money Mogul. Again, myself leading the business from the CEO point of view is where I'm going, and then Drew and Adam in the same role from the brokerage side is leading on the sales and it's leading on the operational side because they go hand in hand really.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's been great, and if I took you through the different avenues, the different projects, the different ventures, the ideas of where our software company has gone, it's gone left, right, left, right, left, right for nearly 4 years now. But this
Yeah.
has ultimately been the
But
project that
I
we're
mean,
trying to do.
the main mission was you knew something needed to be done, right? You
Yeah,
need to embrace tech. You understand the fact that the old ways are old. I want to kind of reiterate this as well because we had talked about this with lots of people recently about AI, and embracing it, because we've done the same thing, but it's just to kind of clarify, it's not taking our jobs. It's taking away the bits we don't need to do so we can concentrate on the bits that we're really good at. Our money-making side of things is our relationship building, right? Is our going out, shaking hands, seeing people, being engaged with your customers. But AI is managing to take the other bits away that we don't need to do.
Yeah.
So it's giving me more money-making time is the best way to kind of describe it. But people are fearful of it in the business.
At the minute, we've got the 3 software developers in our tech company. We've got an IT manager in the brokerage as well, and myself project managing that side of the software development and now our AI implementation. My first question to anybody in the business is when we look at a project and try and find a streamlined, tech-driven, emerging technology AI solution to something is, what is the job that you do most often, takes up the most time, and that you hate? And give me the challenge of making it easier. Now, the one thing people don't say is, I never want to speak to a client again.
I was going to say, not talking to customers is our number one thing we love.
Yeah,
right?
like talking to customers is like number one, right? But it's a lot of the administrative stuff. And if I'm being honest, look at the strengths and weaknesses, or the stereotypical strengths and weaknesses. When you compartmentalize your roles like we do, we have a qualification team at the front of the process, brokers sourcing and dealing with the clients, and overall case management. And then case managers are from application through to completion, dealing with all the third parties. You go through that, and there's common threads of people. Everyone has their nuances. But the reality is lots of salespeople don't have great attention to detail. So, and they don't have patience for the administrative stuff. So can I improve that or take that responsibility away with some emerging tech? I think I can. Case managers can be typically have a great sort of broader picture, but are they always authoritative enough? Do they actually, in terms of the technicalities of complex finance and specialist finance, do they understand it? Well, I can synthesize all that without you having to read through a 15-page, commercial val, without having to go through all the bank statements. I can provide that support to you.
Here's a question we were speaking to about. Funny enough, yesterday at a golf thing with a lender. I think you played golf with them recently, actually.
I was going to say, why wasn't I invited to that?
I don't actually play. It was a brokers event for lenders, but I don't play. But I sponsor the whole. So those that can play, those that can't sponsor, right? But what I was talking to them about the one-page val. The commercial val. You can knock it down to one page. It makes it easy. But our point was that someone's still got to sign it off, right? And if it was my £1,000,000, I'd still want to have a look at it.
Yeah.
So there is still this. So probably the biggest hold back on AI is probably us. Because, and it works with like legal and stuff as well, right? So it can do most of the stuff that a lawyer can do, but a lawyer still has to sign it off, and they're not comfortable signing something off that they haven't done. So we're maybe the bottleneck with AI.
We'll always be the bottleneck, won't we? But if we can move the bottleneck from being this wide earlier in the process to actually being a little bit slimmer further down the process, I believe the client outcome is exponentially improved. But how far do we have to look ahead, Marcus, before actually the world looks completely different from tech like this? I don't think it's necessarily in the next 5 years, but in 10, 15 years, if you think we're even sitting here talking like we are now, and there's not a different piece of tech or a different process to do that, we're probably kidding ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's always going to be the human intervention, but that bottleneck that might come after we've fully implemented AI and new technology throughout our business, and I suspect many others do as well, will actually, the human intervention will prevent a catastrophic failure that the AI can't pick up anyway. Yeah. So it's never going to be perfect, but like I said earlier, I'm not looking for perfection. I'm looking for accuracy, speed, and process efficiencies. That's it. Nice.
And when is that? That's all. I mean, obviously this is pre-recorded, but when that's all going to be live and you can access it by sort of year-end type.
Yeah. So the platform is. There's a couple of services that are live throughout October. It's a constantly evolving thing. It's probably never finished, if I'm being honest with you. But
we said this earlier on. We bought an AI automation, and I thought like, cool, I'll buy it now, and it'll be done then. And now I've realised that it's forever.
Yeah.
Because it's constantly evolving.
Not keep ahead of the curve that you fall off the other side because you keep doing things that are not proven, right? But stay ahead of it that you can keep the competition a little bit behind you. That's kind of the idea, right? So for us, throughout October, the last quarter of the year, we'll have a comprehensive suite of specialist finance and specialist insurance comparison tools and deal analyzer tools, and I think it's probably helpful for me to clarify when I say comparison sites aren't new. If I say mortgage comparison, that's not necessarily new. But if I then say bridging finance comparison. And if I say development finance comparison, there might be a few people in our industry certainly who go, I'm still not sure that's new. Well, go and fill in the forms online and actually find if you get a deal analysis and you get live products, or do you get bracketed products, or do you actually get a response that says, thanks for filling your name, email and phone number in, a broker will be in contact with you. We're with clients who are sitting there late at night, deal sources, on the portals, they've got deals there they want to analyse. They just want to know if it stacks up. They're intelligent people, they understand the maths of it. It's often when our business now is run by property investors, business owners and entrepreneurs almost exclusively. The residential work comes out the back of those conversations. That's sort of how we've repositioned it for now. But the reality is that they're super analytical, they're super interested, they don't always need to speak to somebody, they can work it out for themselves. If they can't, we'll be there to support, but we want to give people more tools that they've asked for. They've asked for this, which is the important thing.
I think the difficulty with commercial is that there's so many variables, right? That you're always going to need that human touch.
Yeah.
But you're right, they're also sophisticated investors who understand what they're doing, so they probably don't need as heavy on the front end as we may have played in the past.
Yeah, and what we certainly don't need in the longer term going forwards is, I don't believe you need to speak necessarily directly to a person to work out, does the maths of this deal make sense? I think you might do from a criteria point and a nuanced who's going to take a view on this. But even still, we've got ideas for that in the background. There's tech that's there to support us. It's been interesting actually when I was speaking to your business, Marcus, Gemma within the team, and the wider colleagues within the team, when we've talked about how we've approached recruitment even now compared to the past. It isn't now always about knowledge. It isn't always about product knowledge. It isn't even always about broking skill necessarily. I think some of those things can be taught a little bit better than actually, are you a likable character? Do you attract clients? Are you intelligent and articulate? And can you behave in a way that can get a deal across the line? But you don't have to be the most skillful broker. You don't have to know every lender and every piece of criteria, because we've got tech and tools to help us do that. But we've got to have a team that actually attract clients and are convinced to work with us because they genuinely believe we can get it across the line. So it's behaviours, it's intelligence, it's people's ambition. They're the things that we're looking for now, a little bit more than actually, have you got 20 years experience doing short-term finance or second charges?
We've been banging that drum for years, haven't we, about the behavioural stuff, about the will over skill. We are in a mass shortage. All of the middle-aged white men are now old white men. Financial services has a big gap in the middle, and it can't be filled by the people that are in it at the moment. It has to be filled by people just with the right behaviours on how you need to act, and then you can train them how you want them, right? And we've been saying it for years: the will over skill and the behaviour over skill, because you can teach people what we do for a living. Yeah. Well, you can't teach people to be a good human. I think it's inherently in you, or to be driven, or to be motivated to want to help people. All those behaviours are so key.
They are. And do you know what's an interesting thing about people's mindset and the experience they come in with, for example, that it was a bit of an unknown quantity for me, and I thought it would be different based on where we're based at DNA's headquarters in Halifax in West Yorkshire. I immediately thought off the bat, right, there'll be loads of people who are coming out of the big banks or local businesses and coming with 5, 10, 15 years experience. The reality is where we're based is very difficult to get to. We've had to adopt a particularly hybrid model to get the quality of people in that I believe we need for our specialist skills. And that's actually allowed us to explore these other avenues where we don't have a plethora of people with 20 years experience dropping their CV on our desk, because Halifax is not on a brilliant train line. You get to it on the M62 and it's still 45 minutes to get into our office. It's mental.
Don't oversell it, mate. I've still got to sell these jobs for a living, don't
you do. This is why we give that hybrid option. It's why we're flexible. It's why if you're not,
and genuinely, because you've had to adapt, you've adopted something that people haven't, because you've had to adapt. But it's the best way. It's best practice. Like I said, it's happened because you've had to. Right, so if you were in the centre of Manchester, you probably would have never realised, or it would have taken you 10 years to realise that it's still behaviours over experience.
Yeah.
So it's an amazing thing for you, right?
Yeah, but if anybody is coming to DNA, really easy to get to the office.
That's not how James sells it. But what's obviously the plan with the fintech stuff, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
As a brokerage, what is it? How do you envisage yourself in the market, and not even size-wise, just where do you see yourselves in the next few years?
Great question. I've always, of late, there's an analogy that the team have heard a number of times from me when I've tried to give an idea how my mind is working for our future plans, where I think our skills are, how I think we attract, partners to work with us, clients to work with us. I compare us to the Volkswagen Motor Group. Ultimately, I go back to it and say the Volkswagen are great at making vehicles that move forwards and back, left and right. Okay, engines, whatever it might be, but they're great at doing that. In the same way,
Yeah.
DNA as a broker is great at broking finance and insurance deals. But there's huge competition. I think you've got to be flexible. You've got to move. You've got to attract different sets of clients when certain markets dip. We started off as purely residential mortgage broker, then residential mortgage and insurance, and then on 3 years, and we don't really touch loads of certainly lower value residential properties. It's specialist finance and insurance. And
Again, that came out of necessity as well, right? So your ingenuity has come out of necessity of going, right, we need to, but again, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, but being able to pivot like you have, rather than going like, this is the way we do business. This is what a mortgage broker is, this is what we've always done. And you having that, I suppose it's because you come from outside of industry as well. You're not so blinded that this is how we do business.
And I think that's where that background comes on from me, understanding how e-commerce works, working B2B, B2C. It gives me different ideas of opportunities that I think would be great just to explore in our industry, but take a modern take on it. And where I was going with my Volkswagen analogy is, lots of people won't know that they own Lamborghini, Skoda, MAN trucks, Ducati motorbikes, things in there as well. Like, they're making things that move forward and back, left and right, like I said, but they badge it up for a different purpose, a different service to attract a different set of clients. And what the future holds for us, there's a few things in my mind, not all of them I would share publicly about who we're going to go after next. But if I can break it down to its bare bones, we're a great broker of finance and insurance. But if we want to attract a different set of clients or a different set of partners, there's different brands, there's different technology, and there's different solutions and processes that I'm looking to explore that would allow us to do that, so that we can just use our experience as that kind of middle pivot point. But when times get tough, when whatever's posted in the BBC News or the Daily Mail or the Telegraph on the Friday night, we just found that people didn't turn up to estate agencies at the weekend, and it curtailed our interest in residential finance. You now find that, we're in a more investor-led space, for example. We work with lots of international clients, but we actually find that some of their queries and some of their hesitations can come from the politics and the economics and the greater macroeconomics of the UK. And so I don't necessarily always want to be under these pressures. I don't have all our eggs in one basket. And we're starting to spread these out a little bit. And it actually comes back to, we've got 4 business partners here. We've got a 5th partner in Neil Montague, our protection director as well. He is 55, by the way. He is the old dog, but with a youthful spirit and a youthful heart, not youthful needs.
And 20% of pension.
Yeah, we had a company birthday the other day to celebrate about 4 years on from our direct authorization, not the actual formation of the company. And I think we managed to tear both of Neil's hamstrings playing egg and spoon race and rounders. He showed pictures of these bruises. So this is us. We take everybody 20 to 55 and beyond. No problem.
Youthful mind, dodgy hamstrings.
Yeah,
I completely feel the same with that.
He's got a wicked sense of humour, and he's a great advocate of DNA, and he's a great supporter of us, and he's a great shoulder to cry on.
And the right behaviours, right? Right behaviours to fit in with that team, no matter what the age is. Just that DNA. I was going to be cheesy and use DNA in a different way, but just in his behaviour, his behaviours are there.
You won't be the first person to use DNA in a cheesy way. And look, DNA is not going anywhere, but there'll certainly be some brands and there'll be some tech which I've never hated the DNA brand, but I've never loved it for being modern, forward-thinking, that digital focus. I've tried to get it as far as I can be.
There, right? There's lots of potential with where it can go.
Yeah, but it certainly attracts the type of clients we want now. But where my ambitions individually and then for the group and the companies as well goes in the future, I just want to use the skills that we've got, but actually use some creativity, use my entrepreneurship, and use the business partners and the team that I've got around me to, de-risk the business where possible, because we're continuing to try and do that every day. And do those 3 things: continue to grow a culture, serve the clients and serve a wider set of clients as much as we necessarily can, and a bit of cash in as well would be great.
With some cash, I mean, but like you said before, and genuinely that is true, and I know you live by that. That's a result. That's not a goal. That's just what happens when you do the other 2 things right. Yeah,
we've cared far less about our margins and our money, when we focused on the culture of the business. I remember saying it was almost January the 1st this year. I said, we spent all last year focusing on the bank account. Let's get through. Let's battle through. And
it's really hard. I'm a believer in the law of attraction and that kind of thing. I'm a big believer in it, and I believe in. But it's really hard to say to someone, don't focus on money when it's a scarcity, which it was last year. So it's easy. It's easy when it's easy, but it's hard. It's hard to go, right, let's focus on this long-term culture build when actually what's really important is keeping the lights on. So you're always going to come up against that, aren't you? But
you are.
It does get easier. Hopefully that resonates with some people that are going through the keeping the lights on stage.
Yeah.
Look,
there's a lot to be said for just keeping going, isn't there? There's a lot to be said for just keeping going, and actually things are never quite as bad as they seem, and they never last as long as they seem, but they just seem to drag on. And I've got no problem.
It's got the good times as well, right? Good times pass, like the bad times pass. It's just you just keep moving.
Yeah, and I think all the trends that we've probably come across, I don't know necessarily which ones I believe about these 18-year property cycles and all that kind of stuff, but probably just, if you were a betting person, how challenging 2023 was. It's probably not going to come around again for a fair period of time, regardless of what the government does, regardless of what policy is put in place. It's probably going to be slightly better, isn't it? I mean, the big challenge with last year was the fact that I don't think we ended up with a base rate and mortgage rates that were necessarily out of kilter with 2023, but it's because none of those changes were made because COVID came between 2020 and 2023. So all of a sudden it was lightning changes, and that it just shocked the market. I don't think necessarily we ended up in a place that was, a market that couldn't.
No, exactly. This isn't a ridiculous market now. It's not the stupidly expensive that everyone was predicting. It just went so quick to a level that it should have gone steadily to. That, like you say, it just blew everyone. Everyone went to wait and see. Wait and see mode is what everyone goes to if they need to.
I think we can all cry out for the base rate sharpening the pencil a little bit and everything getting a bit more cost effective.
Yes, and I think I say this on every podcast. My fixed rate's up in November, so if the Bank of England needs to really sort of switch on now, I need at least 50 bips before November.
You know where to come, Marcus, when that SVR is really cramping your style. I've had a few of those myself, and I know the pain of it. And I think as well, running a brokerage, but being a landlord as well now, I still have that property portfolio. It puts me in the shoes where you've got to work quick. The pain is real. The margins aren't what they were. You've got to look after your tenants. You've got to look after your property. But look, there's light at the end of the tunnel. I think the change of government has been good for us. If nothing else, it's just because I think change was good and change is needed. Yeah. Not necessarily because I agree with all the policies. I think there's some really good ones that have come out of late. But nor is it a reflection of my political allegiance. That's not even of anyone's interest right now.
Oh, yeah, you're definitely
I think we're in a fairly good position. I think the market that we're in now, I've never been more excited. I do say that a lot, but I've said it a lot this year, not so much last year.
It's good. You should shout it from the fucking rooftops about being excited because it's a great time. We've spent so long digging shit that actually, if there's someone excited, if someone's doing well in the market, I can sing about it. Do you know what I mean? It's a great thing. It's a great thing. It should drive people on, not make people envious. It should, it should push you to know that people are coming out the other side of it. I think it's. I love it.
Yeah, and look, that's the roadmap. How far do I look ahead? I don't look that far ahead. I think some businesses, some business owners, entrepreneurs, they've got their 5, 10, 15-year plan. I'll be honest, we have one that is the here and now, is the 12 months ahead. And I tell you what, let's take a view on it. Does it ever happen how it should be? No. Do we ever hit any of the targets that we put in there? They're usually a little bit toppy, so no. But
we've never hit our targets, and I say this like I'm quite proud of it because not because we're not very good at our jobs, it's because our targets are we are the top standard of target. I've built a great team. I expect really high things from. So of course we're going to be. You're supposed to strive towards them. Otherwise, it's just a to-do list.
Yeah, but what I would like, Marcus, as well is. There's nothing about personal glory here, but I would certainly like the DNA brand or our technology and the brands that are to come for people to just turn ahead in the industry. We get nominated for so many awards right now. We don't seem to win them, but we're right up there.
What have I told you about award ceremonies?
Yeah.
If you put us on your table, we've never been to an award ceremony and someone on our table not won. You won't listen. You sat on the table next to me last time and lost till 5. I'm just saying. The two people we were up for one award and they won it. So
we became second in September's NACFB Awards for Digital Broker of the Year, Now,
We'll
we're up
kiss that
against
by
probably,
next year once you get all your work.
well, yeah, but ordinarily, right, if you probably ask the industry who we're up against and who we sort of came on par with, they go, not quite sure how DNA have got that. I genuinely say watch this space the next 6 months. You've got Mogul to look at, and I think everyone will be like, oh, that makes a bit more sense. Does everyone know that we employ 3 full-time software developers as a mortgage and insurance brokerage? That's pretty unique, isn't it? And then,
but the secret sauce is get me on your table. Just saying. Just remember that next year.
Yeah. If you pay for the table, you'll be on the table. That's for sure.
That's the magic is no, because if I pay for it, it doesn't work. It's bad juju. Doesn't work. I'll take him way too. I said it'll be half an hour. We've already been 50 minutes, but I could talk to you all day. As you know, I talk to you outside of this. I love what you're doing there. I think it's great, and the innovativeness of looking outside of just this is what a broker does. I think is really good. You pivoted when it was time to pivot, and hopefully people will see that, right? And I genuinely think hopefully it resonates with people that there are some shit times. There's some really challenging times, but actually you've got to work really hard, but you can come out of it the outside, right? Which you have done brilliantly.
Yeah, for sure. No, I appreciate you saying that, and it does motivate you to go on and keep going on. And I'm so delighted that we have come out the other side of it. And 2025 probably just puts us on completely the opposite side where it's all forgotten about, isn't it? We have short memories for these types of things. And I said right at the start, I'm going to be riding the wave. I think it's going to be a big wave. We're busy. We've never been busier, and that's only a good thing. And look, I've always been an advocate of the industry as well. I've been an advocate of SMEs. I think they're the lifeblood of the UK economy. I'm an advocate of independent brokerages. If you don't choose to use DNA, I'd encourage you to use an independent broker. Choose them carefully, but use an independent broker. I'm not selfish about it all. There's enough work to go around, as we said.
Again, it's the abundance mindset, isn't it? There's business out there for everyone.
Yeah, I like to think that our quality first and foremost, and our technology coming up quickly behind, starts to stand us head and shoulders above some of the others as we move forwards.
Good. Amazing. Thank you, mate. I really appreciate your time. And hopefully, like I said, it resonates with lots of people. And if people want to get hold of you, Hugh, whether that be broker, lender, investor, obviously all your socials will be on our socials, but what's the best way of getting in contact with you or anyone at the team at DNA?
In contact with me, letter. No, I'm kidding.
Quill. Carrier pigeon.
Don't get in contact with me. If you want to get in contact with the team, there's a couple of email addresses: client services at dnafs.co.uk, hello@dnafs.co.uk, picked up by the same team. Telephone number 01422 557 240. Yeah, everybody pile in. If you're a lender, you want to turn up on a Thursday afternoon, that's when we let the lenders in. If you're a client and you want to come to our office, not many of them do that anymore, but you're more than welcome to come down. But look, we pick up the phone, we're there.
If you're a recruiter, piss off. Right?
Yeah. No recruiters. But yeah, clients, partners, decent suppliers, decent solicitors, all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah.
You're more than welcome to pop down to Halifax, or we have got a little office outside Manchester as well.
Amazing. Thank you, mate. I really appreciate your time. And thank you, everyone listening on Spotify, watching on YouTube. It's been another episode of NRG Insights. But thank you, Hugh. I appreciate your time, mate.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.